Welcome to the Healing Spirits Here and There podcast with Terri and Amanda, where you'll hear spiritual perspectives, weird mediumship experiences, and try intuitive and trust-building exercises for yourself. Like and subscribe to never miss a show, and let's get started.
Welcome to Healing Spirits Here and There podcast with Terri and
Amanda, and today, obviously, we are going to be talking about Halloween. Give you kind of a short little introduction on the origins, which I personally didn't know, so that's kind of interesting. We have a true ghost story that's creepy, which I'm glad it's not mine. And then Terri's going to talk about some of her favorite times to do readings and why, and they revolve around this season. So, in fact, do you want to talk about that now?
I like Halloween because I like the dress up time. And when I was looking back as being a child, putting it together and when did I know this? Did I know this? Have I always known that I was a medium? I always thought it was magical. But looking back, I was a witch a lot. Like I always dressed up as a witch. And if I wasn't a witch, I was something magical. I dream a genie, right? So I think that it's funny how some of that stuff just kind of goes into what you do. But now knowing what I know, I like reading really close to the Halloween. So when I went to go do a group reading, I was really worried about it, because I had never read it was actually the day of Halloween, but it was the day prior to Halloween, and that full moon was right there. And it was a blue moon, to be honest, somehow, some way. And there was like more people there that was supposed to be, and I freaked. And I got in there, and it usually takes me a long time to get through groups. And I did that group of like 11 people, 12 people, like in an hour and a half. And I never took a break. And it was, and I walked away and I said, okay, well, I'm done. And I did everybody. And I said, what time is it? And that's when I knew that the moon, that's when I realized the full moon really affects me. But doing it on Halloween, it's supposed to be the closest veil. The veil is the thinnest. That's what I'm saying. The veil is the thinnest.
Between and the spirit world or whatever. Okay. Right. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the origins. And you guys, I do apologize if I say anything incorrectly. I didn't know this, but Halloween's origins date back to ancient, oh my God, I started already, Celtic festivals. Excuse me, a specific one, and it's pronounced Samhain. It's Samhin if you want to look it up. And this is actually when the Celtics believed the boundary between the living and the dead was blurred, just as Terri was talking about. So what they did to ward off the spirits is they dressed in costumes to scare them. They lit bonfires and to just try and keep them away. So at that time, there was starting to be a spread of Christianity, and that holiday merged with All Saints' Day. Okay. So October 31st became All Hallows Eve as a combining of those two holidays. And Irish and Scottish immigrants later added their own traditions in the United States, giving us kind of the Halloween that we see today. There was the addition of also the candy and everything added. And Terri and I were looking this up, and a lot of that was a big push by commercial confectionery delights, and so that wasn't necessarily a part of the original Halloween traditions, but there was the concept of trick-or-treating, which can be traced back to medieval times, and it's really weird. It was called souling, like SOUL, souling, where poor people, usually children, would go house to house and ask for soul cakes. I don't know what that means. I should look it up because it's kind of creepy. And anyways, that soul cake. the tradition eventually did blend with Halloween. And the trick part came where if the kids didn't get the cake that they were asking for, they would play tricks and do mischievous things on the houses and things that people who were not giving it to them. And so, I don't know how that all goes together with like the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, like
Like
the
what's the origins of that? Because I hate to sound so uneducated, but is the Day of the Dead the same day as Halloween or is it different?
The Day of the Dead originated roughly 3,000 years ago. Amongst the Aztec, Toltec, and Mayans, death and the dead were seen as a natural part of life that should be honored and celebrated, rather than mourned.
The ones that I know, I think it's the All Saints Day.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think so. Oh, don't quote me. I don't know. It's funny how we get to talk about these things because you and I start learning our own selves, the stuff that we wouldn't normally look at. But I do know that if you want to look at the Day of the Dead, there's a movie and it's called Xoxo. There is, I have to say, there's also the Book of Life, there's the Day of the Dead, and there's something called The Big Wish. There's many more movies that portray this, but the ones that I have seen, Xoxo, I could watch that every month. When that came out, I thought it was like the best explanation of remembering your loved ones or forgetting your loved ones, putting something out for them. And I know that the Day of the Dead, that's how they honor them. And exactly, you really want to know, this is the little boy ends up going back into finding his loved ones. And then he's kind of in both worlds. Thinking about being in both worlds, is that kind of like checking in, checking out when you have foggy brain, Alzheimer's, dementia, because I'm able to reach that person in a different state and didn't know how I was doing it. So maybe that's how that is, but it all relates. But I love it.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
The times a year that it's really thin. And is that the reason why? Is it the moon that causes that? Or is there's something playing that too? See, I don't go techie. I don't know. I don't look at those things. I just know how I feel, how I work in those situations. But yeah, the pictures that they put up or whatever. I have a tree that I put up at Halloween time. It's usually all Harry Potter, but we put JJ's cat on it, and it's a little ornament with angel wings on it, and it's his thing of how he remembers her. But it's on the tree at Christmas. It's on the tree at Valentine's Day.
Okay. So his cat has passed away.
Yeah, his cat had passed, and it was his first devastation of losing. We talk about people passing, we talk of people, but he's never heartfelt anybody pass. And it was very devastating to him. And so on my altar at Christmas time, I put, my grandma liked that. Was that fruitcake thing? Ugh. So I put fruitcake on there, candy canes on there. But on my altar is a frame of everyone that's passed. And there's some of my clients' kids on there, or your sister's on there. And it's just that, and I have like 5 candles and I light it, and it's just, but that I do every day. And on my Christmas tree, there's an ornament for my dad and for my grandmother. There's symbolic ornaments on my tree, which has nothing to do with Halloween, but that's me honoring them, keeping them alive,
Yep. Oh, and I want to mention, you guys, when I was reading a little bit of the origins of Halloween, I said Celtic, and I know it probably doesn't matter, but I looked it up, and it used to be pronounced Celtic to go with the language at that time, which was like an S, but in the English language, they have reverted it to Celtic, which was closer to like the Greek origins of the language at that time. So anyways, if you're struggling with how hard I messed it up, that's the reason why I just picked one and went with it. Because I know, like in basketball, they are the Celtics, not the Celtics. And so anyways, I think it's kind of interesting. The language that we use is, this is a little off topic, but did you ever notice that the word manslaughter is mostly the word laughter? Isn't that kind of creepy?
Never knew that.
And the word believe has lie right in the middle of it. I don't know. Our language is, if we take things in on a subconscious level,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's creepy. And creepy goes with Halloween, so maybe it's not off topic. I don't know.
Right. I like
But
creepy. You have a creepy story?
I do have a creepy story. All right,
Okay.
guys. This is from a viewer. So let me look at this. Okay. It was a crisp, I'm going to get right into it. It was a crisp autumn evening and the sun was beginning to dip below the horizon. The tale begins when Susan and her brave group of friends decided to explore the ivy-covered caves hidden behind Fairmont Park. The ivy caves had a certain air of mystery that day. They promised to reveal more secrets than anyone could have foreseen. As the group ventured deeper into the caves, the light waned and a thick blanket of fog descended upon them. Their journey took an unsettling turn when they spotted something in the distance, resembling a tree stump near the water's edge. Puzzled, they approached, wondering why a tree would be so close to the river. That would be weird. As they drew closer to what they thought was a tree stump, something unfolded in front of their eyes. What they thought was a stump suddenly came to life, revealing itself to be a person dressed in black. This sent shockwaves through her and her friends, who promptly fled in fear as they just ran away. But then they begin to think, did that just happen? And so they stopped running and they decided to go back and confront the mysterious figure. So they get rocks and sticks and they're like, let's check this out. So they went back, and as they get closer to this black thing, they can see now it's a woman dressed entirely in black, resembling a nun, clutching onto a white handkerchief. And their terror reached its peak when the woman turned to face them, paralyzing them in their tracks. In their fear, Susan noticed a disturbing transformation taking place. The figure of the nun dressed in black shifted to a man wearing jeans and a work shirt. However, where the face should be was a sinister, shifting black void. This grotesque sight was enough to break the spell, and they fled the scene entirely. They're like, I'm out of here. So they ran all the way out of Fairmont Park, immediately seeking help. Susan went and found her boyfriend, who was extremely skeptical, but agreed to return to the scene with them. And to their astonishment, upon the return, the ghostly apparition, the tree stump, and the fog had all vanished. Susan, later in her life, began to suspect that that spirit may have been warning her of a very unfortunate man she would have a long relationship with, as the man that it morphed into resembled the way her future relation, the way that guy looked, like the clothes he wore, jeans and a work shirt. And so later in life, she thought, I think I might have been getting a warning, and I did not take it. Anyways, as the story comes to a close, we can't help but wonder if they truly encountered a spirit, a ghost, the mysteries of Fairmont Park hidden in the ivy caves. That would be horrifying.
Who the hell would go back? Well, who would go back? No, I'm not
They
going
went back 3 times.
No.
Well,
no.
not 3 times, 2 times.
Mm.
One to go throw sticks and rocks. But I mean, I could see that you're, especially in a group when you've all seen it and you're like initially scared and you run away and then you go, what the hell? Did we really? Okay, let's go back. And when you're
Right.
teenagers, yeah. And anyways, I know this person, and this story has remained the same since that person was a teenager. Like, I truly know this happened to this person. And I don't know, it's too much.
I hear stories all the time with clients and whatever, that they see things and creepy things, or they think someone's possessed. And my answer to that is, I don't give it any power.
Yeah.
I just refuse to believe in that. It's just something that I'm not going to. It's kind of like when you put it out there or you talk about it, shit happens. Oh, fucking shit ain't happening here.
So
it's not happening here. Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like stories of Ouija boards and the stuff that has happened to that. People being in dark places, playing a Ouija board. Every person I have talked to, and many, that not touching that no more.
Yeah, there's no point. And it's like Halloween can be creepy like that and have stories like that, but there's also the side of it where you can connect with your loved ones.
Right. Yep. I like that part. Okay. But there's a lot of superstitions around Halloween, black cats. And man, I like black cats. It's not a witchy thing to me. It's just like, I love black cats. I had one when I was younger, and JJ's cat was black. And now we have a black and a little bit of white on him. So it's a night light, but the other one was a midnight. So, but like, people do some really nasty things to animals, and especially black cats at this time of year. And I don't know if they still do it, but like what do you call like Noah and places? Rescue. I said Noah.
Okay.
Not your Noah, the rescue place. I used to hear that they would not let anywhere, even California, they just wouldn't let people adopt black cats because people just think that it's the craziest thing to do. These are just crazy stuff that they do. Just the stuff that I've heard is just don't like it. I like to see the positive in Halloween. I like to see the fun of dressing up. I like to see the children's faces, You make a cute little devil.
I have a costume box. I used to really, really love to dress up and do like theme parties and stuff like that. And I thought it was so much fun. And I just don't have time for that now.
Oh, I want to talk about table tipping. Not that it has anything to do with Halloween. Okay. But when I went to a class with Tony Stockwell and Lisa Williams, it was up in Canada. I was like, you're going to do what? And to watch it go down was crazy. So they just take a table, a four-legged table, table, not a huge one, or a round one. You could take a round one. And I think they had a round table. And you start playing music in the background, and they were playing Celtic music that you would like be drinking beer to or whatever, and you'd get loud and you start clapping, and you walk around this table, and soon the table starts tipping and starts to moving with the energy. And then next thing you know, it's going in circles, and you're holding on, you're kind of holding on to it, right? And it's going in circles. It's the coolest thing. If you've never heard of it, you need to watch a video on table tipping. And to do it was the coolest thing. It was like, I wouldn't have believed that if I didn't get to experience it myself. It was cool. Right. It was cool. Well, I'm telling you, I don't even know what the purpose is about it, except for asking spirit to come in and do things, right?
Right. Kind of play with you. Have a bit of fun.
Yeah. I like that. And you can't table tip by yourself.
No, you need at least 3 people, probably.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I had a client that I took by surprise. Actually, it wasn't a client. It was just kind of someone I bumped into. And then they went and talked to somebody in a church and was talking about the experience that they had with me. And I was like, you did what? I was like, oh, wow, that's going to turn out really bad. I could tell the story was going to go bad. And he had asked the church member about people like me and the stuff that I knew. And the answer was from the priest, clergy, I don't know who, okay, said that, well, maybe she memorizes the obituaries. He goes, she didn't even know my name until I knocked on the door. And he goes, oh, okay, well then, maybe she saw things on social media. And he goes, again, she didn't know me. And he said to him, and I was blown away when he said this to me. He says, Terri, he said that sometimes God can't reach everybody. And so he sends down angels to help out. And it sounds like you found a real angel of God that helped you.
Oh.
And I was like so excited that it came from in the norm that you would think the church says, don't do this, don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it came from there. It was kind of like, they don't even know this, but it kind of gave me such peace to know that someone could be so open to doing what we do. Yes, there's people out there that are lying through their teeth. They're, doing it in different ways. They're charlatans. Mm-hmm. And that sucks for the people like me and others that are out there to do the good, to give you peace, because we're trying to ease your grief, because your grief is never going to go away, right? Mm-hmm. So I just kind of was excited that kind of came in.
Yeah, that's incredible. And it's nice to know that there are people who are open to that concept and don't immediately demonize it.
But then another person that turns around and thinks, yeah, I need to be in a box.
Yeah. Well, and like the phrase like YOLO, you only live, has become popular. Like you only live once. Like, who cares? Good doing, YOLO. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't, I think things like that, kind of puts people in a box if they start to believe it. Like, this is our one time, man. Get everything done this life, because you ain't living another one, and there's nothing after this. Not saying everybody believes that, but some people do. And I think that can be very hard to really, truly believe that this is it. This is your one time, and there's nothing. Once you die, you're just dead in the ground.
No, that's not true, because that's how people think that. But then we as mediums, like to show you that that's not true.
Yeah.
That is not
true. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's very freeing, and it's very hopeful. And like you said, it helps people who have lost a loved one, as we all do. It's impossible to get through this life without losing someone who it means a tremendous amount to you. And so that hope, and then a little bit of proof from someone like you who can give you something that you go, oh, that's very specific. That lets me know they're still there, is very helpful.
Yeah. I just kind of need some boundaries so I don't read people at craft fairs and stuff. It's all about, had nothing, the stories might have something to do with Halloween, but they might not. But the fact of the matter is, our loved ones are here and you need to know it. And right now I'm on this little kick of trying to right the wrongs. And, I don't know why, but have you ever thought about your other self? Is there an other self? Are we in the past? Are we in the present? Is that the quantum physics thing? Is that what that is? And just wondering, what would my future self say? What would my past self say? How have I changed? And if we change inside something, we love a little more, we care a little more, then I think and feel that could ripple into my future self and maybe right the wrongs of my past self, right?
Yeah.
But on a side note, I don't want to come back and do this again. We don't have to leave that there, but I'm just saying. Crazy world out there. We need a lot of love. We need a lot of love, Amanda.
I know. I don't want to come back either. Anyways, I hope you guys have a fun Halloween and that you learned something about the origins of Halloween. I learned a little bit. I didn't know.
Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that cool stuff. 28th, I have an event that I will be doing like 26, 28 people in a theater type environment. And it's my first time doing that. And they have gone all out to make everything fun and exciting for me. And so because you're watching this today on Friday, everybody's going to give me good vibes for tomorrow night for the full moon prior to Halloween and my event. But maybe the next time we could go back and let me share how it went. And hopefully if I make it without fear, it turns out like I hoping it does, then I could do more events and be able to donate to causes that matter to us for the podcast or individually. You know, I have a huge thing for animals. Suicide awareness. I like to give back. I'd like to do something. And if this allows it, then great. And if it don't, then at least I said I tried and I did it and it's over, right?
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
From my heart to yours, I love you.